Hello everyone, and here we have a new story. Before we get to that, I want to ask you to subscribe, like, and be sure to write comments in order to participate in the development of the community. Write how to improve my community, current topics and the stories you are interested in, and much more. I read and listen to all the comments. People write me stories by mail from different countries. There are problems with translation. I apologize for this. I will work on it and try to fix these errors. I want to thank everyone for their support and the people who wrote to me by mail. Broadcast news stories. New videos on my channel are published once every 2 days at 7 p.m. Don't forget to put a bell in order not to miss new videos. And now let's go. Hello, I want to tell you my story. This story is very sad but instructive. I married my girlfriend 16 years ago. She was 17 years old. I am 26 years old. I loved my wife very much, very much. I couldn't imagine how I could live without her for more than a day. After a while, we had 2 beautiful daughters. Despite all the difficulties, we lived happily. But the last 5 years of our life, I began to notice that my wife has grown cold to me. She wouldn't let me touch her, kiss her, and so on. We began to quarrel very often. At the beginning of our life together, I agreed with me that she would sometimes spend time alone. That is, to go on vacation with your best friends, go to nightclubs, and so on. I began to suspect my wife of cheating, but I've always said that until I see it with my own eyes, I won't believe anyone. 2 years later, my wife left for another city. As a result, I got a call from the hospital and was told that my wife had an operation. As it turned out, my wife had an ectopic pregnancy. My wife was very lucky the doctors saved her. I didn't even know my wife was pregnant. She reproached me for not coming to her right away. That for 10 days while she was lying in the surgical department, I visited her once. In general, it so happened that I came back very tired from work. I had dinner and went to bed. But an unknown force dragged me to the embankment. On this day, my wife called me and said she would spend time with her friends. On the embankment, I came across a bar that my wife mentioned. In this bar, I saw one of my wife's friends. Then everything happened like in a detective story. I hide and watch my wife. The time was about 12 o'clock in the morning. Some guy ordered a song and invited my wife to a slow dance. My wife agreed in a fit of dance and he began to touch my wife's ass. She broke away from his embrace and ran to the bar. After a while, she left the bar with another guy. I went down to the shore. My wife and this guy also went down closer to the water. They sat down under a nearby umbrella. My wife was explaining something to him. It took 5 minutes and the guy hit my wife. Can you imagine my feelings? I see some kind of man beating my wife. I quickly run up to him and punch him in the face. By the way, I had a knife with me, but I didn't use it. Thank God and all the angels, because it could lead to bad consequences. There was a scuffle between us. This guy pulled out a gun and we started fighting for him like in the movies. When this was happening, you should have seen my wife's face. My wife's face was contorted with horror. She screamed, "I'll explain everything." In the end, this guy pushed me and fired 2 shots into the air. I looked at my wife and said, "What do you want to explain?" My wife was scared out of her wits. But she screamed that she wanted a relationship with this guy. At that moment, I realized that this was my wife's lover. I wished them luck, turned around and went home. Upon arrival home, I packed my things and went to live with my mom. On the way to my mother's, I spent one night in the woods in my car. I was very cold and couldn't sleep. 3 days later, I went to my wife. I tried to persuade her to come back for the sake of the children. I said I would forgive her betrayal. I begged her to come back to me. But my wife said she was ashamed to look me in the eye, that she's an animal and did the wrong thing. In general, she did not want to put up. A week passed and I started hearing rumors. My son-in-law comes up to me and says that he saw my wife fucked by my classmate on the riverbank. Then my friend told me that his friends had been fucking my wife behind my back for a very long time. In general, I learned a lot of interesting things. Even my relative fucked my wife. I was shocked by the information I heard. My wife cheated on me with 10 guys. In general, I was in a wild whore and lost weight 25 kg in 3 weeks. I'll tell you honestly, I crying at night. But the worst thing is to wake up in the morning. At first, I pressed my wife to admit everything to me herself, but my wife lied to me, not a single truthful word on her part. At first, we corresponded on social networks, but after a while we completely stopped communicating. 2 years have passed and this bitch writes to me, "I'm sorry for everything. Let's live together." Why did she decide to come back to me? She realized that she had made a big mistake. If you believe her words, of course. In general, I managed to get my wife's correspondence with this guy. To be clear, my wife is 32 years old. This guy is 25 years old. In this correspondence, the meaning is that the guy left my wife. I ignored my wife's attempts to make peace with me. Yes, I still love her very much. But the realization that my wife was fucked by 10 men did not allow my pride to even communicate with her. My beautiful daughters are already 14 years old. They are already adults and thank God they understand everything. I felt really bad. How did I survive this? I started going to the gym. I weighed 120 kg at the moment, 94 kg. I changed my image and my entire wardrobe. I quit smoking and lead a healthy lifestyle. In general, I live for the sake of myself beloved. I began to change for the better. Some acquaintances don't even recognize me. It turned out that it was very nice to receive compliments from girls. Men, my advice to you, if the wife does not want to so that you pay alimony, then do it yourself. Because she may change her mind and after a while immediately request a huge amount of money. If your wife cheated on you, pack your things and leave her. It will be very difficult. But this is only in the beginning. More than one normal man will not be able to live with a girl of easy virtue. If your wife has ever lied to you, don't believe a word she says. Everything needs to be checked. At the expense of children, this is a question of the situation. Girls are treacherous creatures. When a girl wants to come back, she is ready for any actions. The girl will cry, kneel, and so on. But it's all a lie. Never ask for forgiveness. Stop completely your communication with her. Don't humiliate yourself in front of your wife. She will get satisfaction from this and nothing good will come of it. In general, you need to become a cold stone. This is really a working option because the girl begins to think who she has lost. Only then will you realize what a jerk she is. You'll stop thinking about her and you won't want to see her. You'll laugh at your old self. A new life will open up for you. You will have more money, and this is a fact. Remember that it's never too late to start a new life. The age of a person is not important. It seems to me that it's better to stay alone at 50 than to live with a traitor and wait for another stab in the back. In general, I believe that treason cannot be forgiven in any case. Especially, it is impossible to forgive female infidelity. Because girls cheat with their hearts and emotions. Girls have been preparing for treason for a long time. Male infidelities mostly occur spontaneously. After cheating, a girl does not respect her husband or the man she lives with. In general, do not worry. I will pray for you all. So don't become horned deer. Without horns, it's freer and calmer. That's the story. If you liked it, give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so as not to miss new videos. Now let's move on to the opinion of the author of the channel. The opinion of the author of the channel. By tradition, I want to wish strength and patience to our hero. When I listened to your story, at the very beginning, I wanted to point out the mistakes you made. When you started begging your wife to come back and so on. But in the end, I realized that you made the conclusion yourself and will not make much mistakes again. Because the end of your story is my advice. You have realized and understood everything yourself. I was shocked that your wife cheated on you even with a relative. This, of course, is terrible. But you made the right choice, starting a new life. Friends, what do you say about this? Write your comments. Would you be able to live with a girl of easy virtue? If you have watched to the end, I want to say thank you very much. I love you all. Thank you for joining me on this exciting journey of love, betrayal, and redemption. I appreciate your support and encourage you to subscribe, like, and share this story. Your participation and feedback are invaluable for shaping our content and promoting mutual understanding and community growth. Until we meet again.